All right. What is up, you happy hustlers out there? I have on someone super special on the Happy Hustle podcast today. I'm talking to Dr. Amy Tafeen, also known as my mother. Dr. Amy, aka Mom, welcome to the show.
Hi, Gary. Thank you very much for including me.
Yes, of course. I mean, I thought about who would be a great guest to bring on, and who better than the person who raised the happy hustler, my mom, Dr. Amy Tafeen. She's an entrepreneur, a world traveler, a holistic healer, and really just kind of set the foundation for everything I do now in my life. And I want to kick things off, Ma, with a little question that I probably know the answer to because I know a lot about you, but what's something that not too many people know about you?
Well, I've done a lot of traveling and I had some amazing teachers. I got to study with Master Chen, who you had on recently, and I got to spend a lot of time with Mickey Singer, and who wrote The Untethered Soul while I was in college. So I had some really great role models.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, Mickey Singer and Master Chen are both huge mentors in my life. So I appreciate you for introducing me to them and their work because they really have inspired me as well as, thousands of others. So that's awesome. Now, talk to me a little bit about how you got started in, let's just say, chiropractic care and how you really went down that path initially, because I know now you've, successfully ran a practice for over 40 years. Now you're somewhat retired. I know you work, for people who, reach out to you, but per se, you're not as involved in the day-to-day operations as you once were. But talk to me a little bit about what got you into chiropractic care and that whole profession.
It was not my intention to become a chiropractor. I had a degree in anthropology and really loved anthropology and was considering getting my doctorate and using, my training to understand more about healing all around the world. And somehow I got introduced to chiropractic after my college. And I loved it, and it really helped me. So it was my own personal health challenges that were truly helped through chiropractic. So I got to do the best of both, which is do chiropractic and help people with natural healing, and also use my skills while I travel.
Awesome. Okay. And then you went to school at the University of Florida initially. Talk to us a little bit about what that was like growing up in Florida and, kind of what made you go to that school. And then I know you went to get your doctorate.
The truth?
Yeah.
The truth is I didn't start out at UF. I ended up trying to figure out how could I keep my parents happy and still get to travel. So I ended up at the University of Americas in Cholula, Puebla, Mexico, studying anthropology. And while we were there, I had a boyfriend and we decided to hitchhike to Guatemala from Mexico. So that meant I had to drop out of school my senior year to hitchhike to Guatemala. And so when I came back, my parents kind of dangled the carrot because I went up to Gainesville to live with two of my girlfriends who are still very good friends of mine, Julie and Penny and Susie. And while I was there, I worked at a health food restaurant, and my parents said, well, why don't you just finish your degree? And I really didn't have very much academic coursework left. So I got my degree at University of Florida. And while I was there, it was, kind of the hippie time. So it was really great. I got to meet Mickey and go out to Hague to the Temple of the Universe and learn all about all kinds of really great spiritual things while I was there, as well as go swim in the lakes in the springs.
So you're saying you're a hippie?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm a hippie that kind of got a doctorate and a fellowship and graduated with honors and ran a business. But yeah, at heart, I'm still a hippie.
You definitely are, and you have accomplished so much in your life. And I wanted to bring you on, especially because I feel like a lot of the happy hustlers out there either have kids or are going to have kids. And I think it's important to talk about conscious parenting and holistic healing, especially now, given the craziness of the world. I want to touch on some of your happiness and holistic hacks that you've instilled in us. What are those three? Let's say if you had to say three things that you did with us that really helped instill happiness and, holistic healing. I can think of one, which is goal setting, but can you think of two others?
Yeah. Well, we all cooked together and everybody made food fun, and we ate natural food. Even your baby food, when you started eating food, was what I ate in a baby grinder. And you were nursed and got to eat whole food and learn to cook at a young age. And you were encouraged to follow all your passions, whatever they were. So for your sister, she loved to dance, so she got to dance. And you loved sports, so you did all the sports. And Grant loved everything, food in particular. So
He was a good eater.
yeah. And watch the Food Channel every night to fall asleep, So I think that encouraging all your passions was a huge thing. And I didn't give you a lot of junk. Every now and then you could have a pizza or you could have soda, but really you were raised without a lot of chemicals or additives. You were raised naturally. I don't even think you all knew you had a pediatrician, because you only went if you needed stitches, because I took care of you otherwise. And you got adjusted, chiropractic. You had chiropractic your whole life.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that, because I think that's super interesting. For those of you who don't know, I had a severe stutter when I was a kid, like so bad that I was literally pounding my head against the wall because I couldn't even speak. I couldn't even say one sentence and couldn't string together the words. And I was so frustrated. I would just bang my head day after day, bashing it into the walls. And I have memories of that trauma just from, pure frustration. But my mom, being the angel she is, actually cured me with chiropractic. Talk to me about that story and how, you healed me.
Well, I told you to keep it light. So that's not a light thing. That's really, very near and dear. Well, I didn't know what to do with you. We tried speech therapy. You had a year of speech therapy and you got nowhere. And so I just traveled everywhere I could and started trying to learn different chiropractic techniques. And then I ran into Dr. Larry Webster, who was the grandfather of chiropractic pediatrics, who I adored and just kind of worshiped. He gave me a cranial technique to adjust you that he called the Webster cranial. And I wanted to take you to Atlanta to him, and he wouldn't let me. He said, you have to learn to do it. So if you can heal your son, then you'll be able to help so many other children. And sure enough, I got to use this technique for 40 years or 30 years. And so he taught me a cranial adjustment, and he told me it was going to take 14 days. I had to adjust you twice a day. You were going to get worse before you got better, and I had to hang in there. And on the 14th day, you never stuttered again. And that was that.
Wow. Well, I am super grateful because
I am too.
Yeah.
You doing this podcast right now.
No, I wouldn't.
Thank you, Dr. Larry. And I ended up going on to spend 5 years studying pediatrics from him and getting a fellowship because of you.
Wow. Look at that, how the universe works out. I want to hear, what is one of your fondest stories of me growing up?
Oh my God. Fondest stories of you. Probably teaching you to ride a bike. Because Grant and I were talking about that yesterday, how you had so much determination. Nothing was ever going to stop you. That the neighborhood kids were all a couple of years older than you, and you were determined to take those darn training wheels off, and you were not going to ride your bike with training wheels at 3 years old. And so I remember putting a towel around your waist and running beside you, and you'd fall over into the ditch and get back on and do it again and do it again and do it again until you took the training wheels off at 3. Whereas Grant and I talked, he might have been 5 or 6, and he was like, well, what do I need? I like my training wheels. They're working for me just fine. And when he was ready, he took them off, and that was that. But you had so much drive and determination, and nothing ever stopped you, you know? You just, whatever you wanted, you just went full out.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the resilience in teaching me how to ride that bike. And I think that determination has carried forth through my professional life and into now just being a happy hustler. And that's something I think we all can take away from right now, you know, given the craziness of this world, everything happening, there's a lot of adversity we're all facing, and we can face it with that determination and that resilience, persevering through whatever adversity, if it's your business or your relationship or your, you know, your personal life or your spirituality. We have things that come up constantly in life, and using determination to persevere past it is how you will succeed. So I think that's awesome and a great, you know, mini story takeaway. One of my favorite things that you tell me about my childhood is how much time you spent in and around the principal's office and the teachers.
I bribe those teachers to keep you in school. Cookies, so many boxes of cookies. Just, you know, I remember 4th grade was the worst, where literally once a week I had to come get you. And we never even made a problem about it. Oh, you were the class clown. So you were always disrupting the class, and Miss Stoner didn't want anything to do with you disrupting the class. So I'd get the phone call. It's Carrie, you need to go get him. I'd pick you up and we'd go get frozen yogurt and discuss it. You know, I was like, oh, what did you do this time? Because I knew you really just couldn't sit still, and you were funny, and I appreciated that part of you. So I wasn't going to change it. So I just accepted it, and kind of we celebrated that. Yeah, this happened again. Okay, well.
Yeah. Well, thank you again. You've kept me out of many suspensions. I do know that. And
I've been in high school in Mr. Sarasota. You want to go there?
Oh, man. Well, yeah. For those of you who don't know this story, thank you, Mom, for the soft toss. Basically, I competed in Mr. Sarasota, which was a high school pageant for, you know, each male to basically compete in the, you know, formal wear, the talent show, the casual wear, the bathing suit attire. And you went through this whole like performance basically. And it was quite the experience. For my talent, however, I did strip to I'm Too Sexy for My Shirt with my good friend Betsy, and we did this tango / striptease, and I actually got almost expelled, but definitely kicked out of the competition, and my mom had to go and fight the you know, pageant director and the principal on why I should stay in school and how I'll keep my pants on next time. So that was quite the.
You did get a standing ovation, and you were the crowd favorite.
I did. I think, yeah, People's Choice Award. Yeah, I definitely took my pants off and threw them on the judges' table. I remember that. They edited me out of all those footage. I wish I would have had some raw.
We need to have to find a black market copy of that. Maybe Betsy has one.
Yeah, we definitely need to get that. Well, I want to really, my sister did help me choreograph that, Megan. She really did help. Yeah, we did. Hours of practice.
Do you remember the fish?
Of course.
Okay, we'll go ahead.
We'll go ahead. I want to talk about some things that really will help people listening. You know, the happy hustlers out there who are tuning in. I really want to help them, especially, you know, now, given everything that is going on, and with the health and you know, wellness being a top priority to really combat disease and viruses of any type. What are some of your top immunity, you know, hacks, will you say, to really optimize your immune system and throughout your years of chiropractic care and functional medicine training? And I know you've been a professor of anatomy at many colleges. What are some of those go-to, you know, we'll call them biohacks to really boost immunity?
Right now, I think Qigong is really important, and just getting that energy moving through Tai Chi or Qigong or yoga or whatever feels like it's energy healing, and a super good clean diet. At the moment, we're doing no dairy and no wheat and no eggs, so we're drinking a lot of juice and fruit and vegetables and whole food, and getting massage and chiropractic and adjustments and acupuncture and
Yep.
Chinese herbs. I mean, Chinese herbs have saved me. I have the best Chinese herbalist here, Sholam, who has saved my life many times, and your brothers. So, yeah, I mean, all of that natural healing has been so helpful. And yeah, just going to nature. We try to go to the beach as much as possible or get outside and breathe clean air.
Yep. Yeah, those are all great.
Avoid environmental toxins as much as possible, pollutants. I don't wear perfume or use chemical products, very little. I try not to.
Yeah, I mean, you're an OG biohacker. Before it was a trendy term, really raised us to be holistic, to eat
Right.
healthy and natural, and really, it's a lifestyle. It's not just a one, size fits all pill or diet or fad. It is a lifestyle, guys. Really getting outside, breathing fresh air, absorbing, that sunlight early in the day, getting really positive nutrients into your body. My mom mentioned qigong, which is a form of healing arts from the Taoist temples, ancient wisdom that really cultivates this qi energy that we both have trained under a master Chen. That it is so powerful to just cultivate that qi. Also, you mentioned Chinese herbs, which are definitely, they've saved me when I had parasites with Stephanie when we went to Guatemala. We got super bad parasites, and these Chinese herbs really saved us. So if you're looking for an alternative from this Western medicine, I would highly recommend finding a good Chinese herbalist in your area and tapping in. And because truthfully, a lot of this new Western medicine stems from old Eastern roots, and how they do, the pharmaceutical companies use a lot of these ancient roots
Right.
from.
Yeah,
Go.
well, I was just going to say, not just Chinese herbalists, but my friend who made my necklace was an herbalist in Guatemala. And Grant and I were talking about how Doña Dominguez saved him when he got parasites with apazote, which was a Guatemalan herb that she picked for him. And, I picked up and made him a tea, a bitter tea. So many of the indigenous cultures have herbal remedies, and it's not just the Chinese, although I've had really great success with, Zhongman.
For sure. Let's talk about some tangible tips for parents out there and potential parents. What are, let's just say, some of your foundational elements for raising a happy hustler and really just conscious parenting? What are some of those go-tos that you look back and you lean on and you potentially help other young parents? What are some of those things that could help others?
Well, I just think the bookmobile was like your best, because I have raised two sons with dyslexia who both are avid readers, because my daughter read from the time she was, a baby practically. But we went to the bookmobile every week and got 10 books, and I read them out loud to you until you could read them yourself. And so there wasn't a week that we didn't have 10 books around the house to, travel in our minds. And I think that was huge, that you love to read now. And art, that you always had a sketch pad or a lump of clay or something. I remember Miss Mercedes taught you art classes to paint, and we had your paintings up. And Megan was a dancer because she loved dance, and you had to go to each other's everything. So you had to go to her ballet. She actually learned to be the scorekeeper at your baseball games, because she had to sit in her little tutu at baseball all the time. So you got to pick the things you loved, and then we all supported you in doing it. So I think that was not like I decided you're going to be a soccer player. I remember one conversation you and I had, and it was, okay, you're going to need a scholarship if you want to go to the college you want. So which sport do you like the best? And you like soccer the best. And I said, okay, well, how are you going to get that scholarship? So we reverse engineered it. You ended up actually taking a TV and radio producing course your junior year, so you could produce your own soccer videos. And look at you now, you're still using that. But you did it for the goal in mind to become eligible for a college scholarship. So you had copies of all your soccer games. And then you ended up, we sat in the back of my office and you sent them all out and recruited.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to unpack some of that because you really dropped a lot of value there. One, foster creativity within your children and just within your life, your own personal life. How could you be more creative today? Can you get a sketch pad? Can you, get some clay? Can you maybe get a paintbrush and just be creative? I feel like a lot of us are stifled in our creativity, and it really does open up a world of possibilities in other aspects of our life when we do get creative. Two, you mentioned something very important, which is reading. And I still read every single day. It's a non-negotiable for me to read at least, 20 to 30 minutes. I think you instilling that at an early age with the bookmobile, picking up, I remember I read all the Captain Underpants books and the Goosebumps books, but then I started to really like reading, where I read, sci-fi novels and history books and all sorts of cool things. The Peaceful Warrior whole series, that really changed my life. So if you're out there and you're not reading every single day, I would say that is just something right now that could change the trajectory of your whole existence, because we expand our mind, our horizons, when we really start to pick up books and absorb that knowledge and change our input to positive things. Instead of the media and the toxic news cycles, pick up a book and read something positive. So great advice there. And then one last thing, you mentioned reverse engineering the goals. I've touched on it before on this podcast, but I want to mention it again. I mean, my mom really was a master goal setter, and she is the reason that I have accomplished a lot of the things I have accomplished, because we have learned early age. Well, it's true, Ma. The process that you laid out when we were kids was simply identify truly what you want. And all you listening and watching, this is something that you could do right now. Identify what you want very clearly and think not too far in the future. It could be a 1-year goal, and then you break down that goal. Maybe your goal is to write your first book. Okay, well, how many pages do you need to have completed in order to submit to the publisher in 9 months? Okay, then break it down to the 6-month goal. Where do you need to be in terms of editing in order to have that goal ready to be sent to the publisher? Okay, 6-month goal is complete. Now I have my 3-month goal, and I reverse engineer how many pages do I need written every single day in order to get to my 3-month goal, then my 1-month goal, then my 2-week goal, my 1-week goal, my tomorrow goal. And that's how easy it is to reverse engineer your goals. And that was a process that my mom taught us early on, and it has stuck with me ever since. So thank you for that. Do you have anything to add in terms of that process?
I do. I mean, it was a really simple thing that I came up with by accident, really, which is I was trying to figure out the cookie, how to get you to actually want to do it. And of course, your sister, who is Miss Go-Getter, she could probably run the whole world by herself because she's so dynamic. But yeah, I mean, practically.
It's quite a task.
No, but you know what I mean. Like, she always is very, she wanted to do those goals and she wanted to do them yesterday.
She's a go-getter. Yep.
You and your brother weren't so sure. It took some hot cocoa and cookies at Barnes & Noble to get you motivated. So I tried to make it fun, where I had one-on-one time with you, and it was all your time that whole hour, and you got to buy a brand new sketchbook, and the little carrot was you got to pick out a book at Barnes & Noble of your choice. And then once a year, we would write down your goals. And then you'd keep that little book by your bed and you'd read it every night, and you'd change whatever you wanted to change. So we had to try to make it fun.
Yeah.
For kids, you have to make it fun.
Yeah, 100% agree. I think in life you have to make it fun. There's probably a lot of people out there listening and watching who maybe don't have enough fun in their life. And that's one thing that I'm happy to stand on top of the mountain and preach it as loud as possible because, right now in our lives, we have to have balance, not just crushing it in your career, but crushing it in your personal life and making sure fun is a factor every single day, making sure that you're doing something that speaks to your soul, passionate hobbies, getting out in nature, hanging with people you love and care about. These things really are what, life's all about. So I think that's a great point there, Ma. Let's get into some tangible happy hustle hacks. Let's talk about spirituality first, because I know you are deeply spiritual, but yet not one denomination or another. You're technically Jewish, as am I, right? And
Right.
our dad was Catholic. My dad, not yours. Technically, we were raised with just a bigger picture of thinking about religion and spirituality, where we just, believed in a higher power. Can you talk to me a little bit about your spiritual practice and maybe something that you could share with the happy hustlers out there that they could benefit from?
Well, I found a wonderful non-denominational church called the Center for Positive Living that you guys all went to, and you learn to appreciate everybody's world religion and the truth within all of them. That honestly, in my opinion, the best thing I instilled in you was the giving back aspect of spirituality. And you learn to be just a positive person at church or in your life. um, I think for me, it was a day-to-day thing. Like I was a Rotarian for 10 years, and you guys came with me and did projects to paint a wall or help at the handicapped kids' house. And you still, I know, go to an orphanage and serve meals, or you do things that are volunteer that you don't talk about. You just do it because it's just that service aspect of your life that you learn from a young age to always be of help. And I remember, you all used to take the side of the underdog, especially, just and help other people. So that's the simple golden rule part. I mean, yes, I've trained in certain disciplines and, I don't really want to go off on that tangent too far, but I think the whole thing is how many good deeds can you do in your life without telling everybody about it? Just how much good can you do in the world and just do it out of your heart. And I see all three of you in your own different ways, my three children, finding an avenue. Megan is very political, an activist, and she really makes the difference in all the work she does. You and your brother are more just, you find avenues to give back, whether it's recycling or working, volunteer work on a food, giving out food.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's a spirituality in action.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, it really is. How many good deeds can you do in the world? And the secret to living is giving, like Tony Robbins says, right? And making sure that we're just giving to others, thinking outside of ourselves. That service over self mindset is what we preach on the Happy Hustle podcast and what really I live by, because that's where the magic happens, when you're really giving to others just out of the kindness of your heart because you want to help others, and you don't have like a secret agenda in the back of your mind. That's when you can really hit that enlightened state and really be fulfilled too. So I'm grateful for those lessons. That's an awesome memory of me, from my childhood from you, is just all those times we volunteered and didn't talk about it. It was just part of the daily routine. So that's awesome. Let's talk about entrepreneurship, because let's face it, you were Women's Entrepreneur of the Year and voted, for your chiropractic practice, and you had 40 years of successful, business, and there was ups and downs and trials and tribulations, and you ran a big staff, and you then, helped tons of people in the process. Talk to us a little bit about your entrepreneurial career, and maybe some aspiring entrepreneurs out there, or maybe some business owners listening, how could they benefit from some of this advice and how you persevered through that adversity?
Oh, that's a big question. I don't even know where to start. I think for me, when I got out of chiropractic school, I really didn't know how to run a business. So I found the most successful chiropractor in town, Dr. Perhai, and asked him if I could just shadow him. And I ended up shadowing him for a few months until I got my license. And then he became a lifetime friend. So I tried to get experience from people wiser than me. And then once I opened up my own clinic, I realized I didn't know what I was doing. So I got a coach, and I actually went to management programs that would teach me the business and hold me accountable for my numbers and manage by numbers. Your brother and I were talking a little bit today, and one thing he said about my business that he was so inspired by was, I missed having girlfriends that were chiropractors from chiropractic school. So I invited every woman chiropractor from 3 cities over to get together for lunch. And we'd meet for lunch at least once a year. And we'd share ideas, we'd travel together, we'd help each other. So we weren't in competition, we cooperated. And I think that really that cooperative spirit is really so important, not to look at people as your competition, but how can you help each other? And then, I didn't really make the most money in my practice, but I did decide consciously that I knew I wasn't going to make any money on my Medicaid patients. I probably lost $20 to $30 on every one of them. They were the low income people. I got $12 in adjustment, and my overhead cost was probably $40 per person. But I got to give back to the population I wanted to give back to, which was young mothers with their babies. And I got invited to so many births and to be part of people's births and adjust the moms during labor and adjust the babies at birth. And because I chose to do what I loved and to give it back, I got so much out of that.
Yeah, so, those are great points.
Not all about the money. It's, yes, you have to have your certain people who can afford your services to keep the lights on, but what is your passion in your business to keep you doing it for 40 years?
Love that. Those are some excellent points. And I just want to, touch on them one more time. You hired a coach / mentor.
Absolutely.
Who helped you fill in your blind spots, things that you didn't know in business. You hired help to really get you over that ledge and to optimize your business and expedite your learning curve. You sought out help. And I think that's a great takeaway for all the happy hustlers listening. If you're not where you want to be right now, who is where you want to be, and what can you learn from them? How can you reverse engineer their success, right? And then how can you maybe even work with them? Maybe reach out. I personally reach out to mentors regularly. Hey, do you want to hop on a quick call? I'd love to add value here, and here, but also can you help me here, and here? You know what I mean? It's an exchange of value. And I think that's a great point there. You also created a little mastermind / accountability group, which I'm a part of multiple. And I think all of us out there listening, if you're not a part of some type of community, some like-minded, inspiring community, you definitely should create it, because I did an episode on this, on the power of accountability, but we all need expert mentorship, accountability, and a community that really just helps get us to our next level in life and persevere past the adversity, share the wins, help each other through the losses. And that is such a great point that you referenced, how you helped yourself and your business grow. And then finally, you mentioned it's not all about the money. You have to have the love for what you're doing, the passion for your craft. And you surely had that. I remember seeing, the people who would come in your office, and it was, sometimes heartbreaking, but you gave them care and the shirt off your back and, open, an invitation to really heal at your practice. And I was always grateful to see that impact that you were having on these people who really couldn't afford your services. You would just give them away. And that's the value of doing something that you love, is it doesn't even feel like work sometimes when you just do something you love and it has that positive impact on others. So great points there, Mom. Really awesome points indeed. So, you know what I want to talk about? Go ahead. Do you have something to add?
No, I'm taking a break.
Take a break. You're
Thank
doing
you.
great. No, you nailed it. Let's talk about money, because I think there was some good money lessons since we just referenced it a little bit. What is a happy hustle hack for your money that you can, I know you've made money, I know you've lost money. What is some of those principles that's helped you throughout your lifetime and your years of experience that you could bestow on the happy hustlers?
Well, I'm probably not the right person. I've been living in a treehouse in Guatemala with an outhouse. So,
5 years.
5 years working for free on indigenous Mayan people. And so I'm not really that great at money, but if I could do it over, I'd probably save more and not buy you so many Beanie Babies and silly things.
Oh no, Beanie Babies.
Beanie Babies out, but
well, savings is important. Yeah.
Yeah, you give what you can when you can. But I think that, I probably, in retrospect, some of those little toys and things that you didn't need, like you were just as happy with a box and a pot and a pan with water in it and a spoon. You didn't need the fancy Wii for $300. So I think that, when I've lived very simply for the last 5 years. Those are some of the happiest people I've ever met. And they live very simply, but they eat their meals together, the Guatemalan, the local indigenous people that I lived with. And they're the happiest people, and they had very little as far as money goes. But they had family, they had good, whole food. They always had mostly had a smile on their face and were grateful for anything. So I think you better talk about money with somebody who's better at management than me. I managed to do my job to raise you guys as the best I could and get whatever I.
Well, you hit the nail on the head in terms of it's not, in my opinion, money is just a tool, and it really doesn't dictate happiness. It doesn't have to dictate your happiness. It's a tool, yes, and it's an important tool at that. But you've lived simply, for years in countries all over the world. And that's some of the fondest memories, when we get outside of our comfort zone and experience other culture and other people. And really, it doesn't take that much money to do those type of experiences. Speaking of those experiences, I know you've lived in Africa and climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, and I know you've lived in Egypt and raced cars in Germany, and you've went to, Mexico. Talk to us a little bit about traveling and the value that you gain from traveling, and how potentially that could help the happy hustlers listening, and maybe your message to them.
Well, I think we're all at different economic levels, but whenever anybody has a chance to travel, I think it's an amazing thing, and it broadens your horizons. And I found that you guys, when you traveled to Rio, you worked the World Cup. So then you got to experience Brazil. So you learned to work and get jobs that you could get paid to travel. So it's not out of the ballpark for everybody, but the more different cultures that you can experience and travel to, I think it just enriches who you are. And just the understanding the worldview of just appreciating other ways of life and other cultures, religions, healing arts.
Yep.
Going to China, to Wudang Mountain, and going to Tibet were amazing for me. And traveling my girlfriend Muff and I traveled in an army truck all through East Africa, and we climbed up with the mountain gorillas and saw the mountain gorillas in Rwanda, and we climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. And even now at this age, I'm still, doing crazy things. Like I went to the Tai Chi temple in Guatemala every morning at dawn, for a month to experience that, watching the volcanoes blow. So you're never too old to put yourself a little out of your comfort zone, just whatever it is that you can do to enrich your experiences, I feel more alive when there's just that little bit of edge of the unknown. I mean, that excites me. And, I'm pretty happy to be on Siesta Key here at your old home, area for now. But it wouldn't take much, like a little finger snap to get me somewhere else and, experience another culture, go down the Amazon or whatever next and, see that. I think that you guys grew up listening to my travel stories. Tell me again about the trip to Africa, and tell me again about when you were swimming in the Red Sea. So you don't have any fear to explore other areas or other cultures or other worlds. I think it makes you a citizen of the world to do whatever you can to travel and just see the world from a different lens.
Yeah, I so agree. I think traveling for me has been some of the greatest lessons in my life. Living in Bangkok, Thailand for 9 months, living in Barcelona for 10 months, living in Brazil for 4 months, going all around Europe and South America and Central America and even North America, living in a camper for 8 months, going around. Yeah. Traveling and just meeting people where they're at, learning culture, is just the most rewarding experience. So I highly recommend, especially after this quarantine, everyone get out and explore, meet new people.
We're all at different places in our lives. Like I know just to be able to leave the lake in Guatemala, some of those people that live there, that's their whole life. And maybe just to go across the lake on a boat would be a big deal. And that's still travel because they're broadening, something new, finding the new wherever you are and whatever your circumstances.
Yep, exactly. Let's take a quick minute to thank this show's sponsor. That is Therasage, which is
I have one right here that I love.
They have an infrared portable and affordable sauna, which I highly recommend. You can go to therasage.com and use code HAPPY to save over $100. And my mom has one. I have one. They're great. They help with detoxification, moving all the lymphatic drainage from the body. You can just increase blood flow, circulation, tons of benefits from red light therapy and infrared saunas. And what I want to touch on now, Mom, is moving to the rapid fire round. And that is where I just ask you random questions very quickly, and you answer the first thing that comes to mind. Are you ready?
Oh, I guess so.
All right.
We'll see.
Favorite movie? Go.
So, I don't know. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
There you go. Favorite food?
Sushi.
Favorite book?
Autobiography of a Yogi.
Nice.
And the Tao Te Ching.
There you go. What's your spirit animal?
Dragonfly.
Oh, that's a new one. Best business advice?
Be honest.
I like it.
Keep integrity.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Flying.
One word you wish to be synonymous with your name for the rest of your life?
Kind.
Love it. And 3 things you're most grateful for?
All 3 of you guys.
All right. Hey, nice. Now, Dr. Amy, where can people go to find out more about you? Maybe if they do still want to, get an adjustment and they're in the local Sarasota area. Give us some potential links and talk to us a little bit about where people can go to find out more about you and follow you online.
Oh, Carrie, I'm kind of like in transition at the moment, so they can find me through you at the moment.
Okay, she does have a Facebook page, right? Dr. Amy Tafeen on Facebook, or Amy Tafeen, I believe. And I just want to acknowledge you first and foremost, Mom. Thank you for being an incredible role model and just sharing your love and light with the happy hustlers out there, and especially with me all throughout my childhood and life. Thank you. I love you. Now, final question. What does happy hustling mean to you?
I know your answer, so it just comes to mind, like living a life of purpose and passion. But I mean, for me, it's just do good, just do good in the world. Anytime you see a chance to give without expecting anything back, just do good things.
Beautifully said. Love it. Anything you want to say to the happy hustlers?
Well, I'm grateful to be here, and I'm grateful to you, Gary. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you guys so much for watching.
Never knew what I was going to say.
Yes, indeed. All right, guys. Love you. Mom, thank you so much for this amazing interview. Thank you guys for watching.